we go through is we talk a lot about environmental toxicity and toxicity in like body care products and household products in everything, because that has just amplified, especially over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And we've seen a massive rise in lifestyle diseases, autoimmune diseases, chronic fatigue, and a lot of these things sometimes, not always, but contributed to environmental toxicity, heavy metals.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Rosa Coelho, your host, lifestyle entrepreneur, health coach, and speaker.
Hi, Francesca. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, Rosa. Great to be back. Thanks for having me.
It's always so fun having you on. We were just already catching up over so many things.
We could have just had like an hour conversation to ourselves, couldn't we?
So easily. I'll have to come visit you in London this summer. For those of you who don't know, Francesca, we met as like early on in our personal training careers, and it's just been amazing to see where your career path has gone on as a transformational coach and author and so many amazing things. And in the podcast, I will share all of your links in the show notes so that people can get in touch. Today, we're speaking about a specific topic because I saw you on social media doing just a live video on products that you create for your own personal self that are clean, and they were for like beauty products, I believe even cleaning products. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool, because I'm all into non-toxic, but I've never actually made my own stuff. I was like, I don't know. I guess I just never considered it. So it's always nice when someone kind of opens up the world to you, which you did. And then I thought, well, if I just learned something from you, we need to share this with as many people as possible. And then it's always just fun chatting with you. But tell me, like, what put you on this path to creating your own products, and what are they? Like, share with us exactly the kinds of things you make.
Sure. Well, I suppose when I was younger, I always had quite natural products anyway, because I had a lot of gut issues as a child and as a teenager, a lot of gut issues. And at one point in my life as a teenager, I had this fungal kind of patchiness on my skin, which was a fungal infection that stems from the gut. And then I had a lot of chemical sensitivities as well, and food intolerances and things, and like allergies like the hay fever and asthma. So because I was quite sensitive to chemicals, my mum did she would, I suppose it just sort of naturally happened, like she would bring in maybe like buy like this organic natural skincare brand that I would start using, and then sometimes she dabbled with making her own products as well. And then I suppose just as in my 20s, I didn't really use like natural organic products, but I was conscious of what I was buying. But I would buy perhaps things that I thought were natural, but that's a whole nother thing, because when you come to cosmetics and body care, what is deemed natural, the regulations are pretty loose compared to like food and things. So actually it was like, oh, okay, like, the Body Shop when I was like really, teenager, 20s, you think that's like the natural, or like, product stuff was full of, still got the full of chemicals. But then over the years, when I studied my holistic lifestyle coaching, and that's one of the things we go through, is we talk a lot about environmental toxicity and toxicity in like body care products and household products in everything, because that has just amplified, especially over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And we've seen a massive rise in lifestyle diseases, autoimmune diseases, chronic fatigue, and a lot of these things sometimes, not always, but contributed to environmental toxicity, heavy metals as well. And also the rise of, I'll talk about this a bit later, but things like estrogen dominant diseases, breast cancer, and challenges like fibroids, endometriosis, which come from xenoestrogens in mostly body care products. Right. So I had the awareness about 10 a good awareness 10 years ago when I was doing my holistic lifestyle coaching training. And so from there, well, actually before that, I was buying natural organic skin, like body care, skincare products. And then when I was writing my book, Self-Care for Life in the City, that's one of the sections I write about detoxify your home. So we have like detoxifying your kitchen products, like household cleaning products rather, and then detoxify your body care products. And as I was researching, looking up like the ingredients, the different components and what that might contribute to health, I was like, whoa,
Wow.
there's a lot. This is crazy. How are these companies and products even getting away with putting all these products in that are wreaking hormonal havoc, really?
Yeah.
And then I just sort of came, because I was writing about it in my book, I would come across some recipes online and was researching online, and it was really easy, simple.
Right.
I thought, okay, let me just try it for myself. So I made a few of my own household products from some of the recipes, and then just over time, I would make my own kind of soaps and body wash, and deodorant most recently, and it's kind of fun. It saves money. They last for ages,
I
and
remember you saying that in the video. I was like, oh, okay, that's another incentive.
yeah, I was just like, okay, well, I mean, there's some things I still buy, of course. Like I don't make my own cleanser or skincare as such, but that might be something down the line. But just the kind of really easy bang for buck stuff.
I love that. I mean, you're definitely speaking my language. When I was in my early 20s, I remember going with my aunt. She had cancer and we went to Mexico to do an alternative treatment. And sadly, it didn't work for her because she was just so late in her disease. But what I learned there was fascinating, and it was all about the chemicals in our food, in our products, in our just everything, in our water. And it's really started to open up my world to this. But apart from like, okay, don't just don't use those things, I didn't really know where to go, like you said, other than maybe buying things that are organic. But it can be very expensive, and like you said, it might not be exactly what we think unless we're very good at reading those labels and understanding. Because I always say marketing ruins everything, in the sense that a product might even start out clean, and slowly companies will add things to it to make it cheaper. And I always use the example of almond milk. I remember being in London when almond milk first became a thing, and it used to say almonds, water, maybe one like little guar gum or something, right? But like 3 ingredients, maybe 4 max. Now, the exact same brand, you look on the back and it's like a huge list. And so
Yes.
you have to keep reading the labels too, because companies do sneakily change what they're doing. So it's I love that. You touched on like those big things that can happen when you're putting these chemicals into your body, like the cancers and the autoimmunes. But what are some symptoms that people may be feeling? Because that's kind of like, okay, like that's huge, and you know that you've got a problem. But I always say that our body is really good at giving us clues and communicating and saying, hey, something's not quite right, long before that kind of happens. What are some symptoms that people may experience that kind of may let them know that they're kind of in that toxic overload phase?
Oh, it's a really good question, but it's quite a vast answer, because I believe that these things aren't something that will perhaps give you an immediate symptom. It's accumulative, just like metals, heavy metals. They bioaccumulate over time, so your body never gets rid of like heavy metals, maybe from our water supply, lead pipes, and I mean, the obvious one is mercury fillings. I've just worked with a client who had 3, and she was having a lot of health problems only in her 20s. And when we got to it, that was a huge indicator. But otherwise, it might be quite subtle. But the accumulation over time, constantly over period of, it might be years, is that might feel, I don't know. It's a lot of them are endocrine disruptors, so you might feel sort of brain fog. So a lot of these things, that toxicity build up, what we're seeing a lot is a lot of like chronic fatigue type syndromes. And as I was saying, a lot of these xenoestrogens for women, they're having fibroids and endometriosis, so lots of pain, cramps, maybe bleeding in the womb area, or lower back pain, but they may not necessarily put 2 and 2 together,
right,
in that, and that might not be the only factor, because we do live in a toxic world with our water, with our food, and so we have to look at everything, and emotionally as well. Emotions play a huge role, especially when it comes to things like into the womb health. So there are a lot of them are carcinogenic as well. So I'll go into that a bit when we talk more about some of the ingredients and what they can cause, the symptoms, not symptoms, but yeah, how they can contribute to disease. But so a lot of them may be cancer showing up, particularly estrogen type cancers, so breast cancer. And in fact, I have a resource, well, I don't have a resource, but there's a resource on breastcancer.org.uk, I think it is, and they have like a list of all the kind of toxic chemicals to avoid in body care products and household products, and because they are carcinogenic.
Wow. That's incredible. Yes, go ahead.
Another thing I wanted to say as well was triclosan, which is found is an antibacterial chemical, and it's found a lot in like hand sanitizers and antibacterial soaps and things. And now this has been shown to be resistant to bacteria, so that actually the antibiotics become resistant to it. So it's like almost potential to create superbugs, and also affects the gut microbiome, because you're constantly wiping clearing the microbiome off your hands. We're meant to be with some dirt and some earth, and that's how we build up our colonies of bacteria. And so having that, and of course in the last few years, that has been pumped out everywhere.
Absolutely.
Not good
everywhere.
And apart from making your hands people's hands dry, and especially children, like their hands going raw, it's actually affecting their gut microbiome.
That's right. That's so interesting. A lot of the things that you say is what I experienced when I went through mold toxicity. And so I had symptoms like a chronic cough, even though I wasn't sick, and chronic eye infections, and a hard time breathing, and fatigue, and kind of like the list went on. And then later on, I was diagnosed with SIBO and thyroid, and like all of these other things. But that was after like these little symptoms. So that's interesting that you touch on those. It can become overwhelming when we think, okay, we live in this like toxic world, and I found by listening to your video, it kind of gave me relief in the sense that it can feel really stressful when you're in the store and you're like, trying to read these labels. You know what's going on, and so you want to do your best for yourself, for your family. So you're reading those labels, but it does. You're like, I used to sit there with Google and go, is this good? Is that not good? And it just takes you forever to shop. So when I saw what you were doing, I was like, oh, that's just actually way more simple, and it's not as intimidating, because when you say things like Castile soap and like things that maybe someone hasn't been exposed to, and that could be like, oh my gosh, where do I get that? But actually you made it really simple. It's just like, you don't know what you don't know. So I loved that. What were like some of the first things that you started making, and do you have any, like, did they all work out? Do you have any funny stories of like
maybe I saw that. Do you know what, to touch on what you just said, I mean, I'm a minimalist, so my kind of body care bathroom products are like kind of minimal, so I can run through what I like, what I use pretty much. Like, I don't buy into all the different kind of creams for my skin, like day cream, night cream, and you know, all of these things. It's like what I use for body wash, I make from Castile soap, and then I put my own essential oils in. So I use that as my body wash. It's also within my hand washes as well in the bathrooms in the house.
Oh,
When I
okay.
have a bath, I use Himalayan salt or Epsom salts or bentonite clay.
Oh, I know
And
about
that's it.
because of my journey. Tell us about why that's such a good one.
Well, actually, yeah, it's good for. I used it first with a detox, an internal detox, just to help as part of a colon cleansing.
Right.
But also for the in the body, it just helps draw out it's good for drawing out toxins. It's full of lots of minerals, and you can put it on your face. I put it under my armpits as well, or my chest sometimes, just to kind of these areas that perhaps, you know, they don't see sun, or maybe well, not in the UK in the winter, or circulation as much, you know. So yeah, it's really good for like as a bit of a mud mask as well. To the minerals help to just draw out the toxins in the system.
Amazing.
And then body care, I use just plain shea butter. I don't make that, but I can easily get that online. I just use plain shea butter for my whole body. Some people might use like cocoa butter, or maybe some other kind of perhaps coconut oil based.
I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say coconut oil works for some people as well. I find that it doesn't give me enough moisture in my skin, but and then yeah, I make my own deodorant, and then I just use essential oils as my perfume.
Amazing.
And that's really it. That's it. And I buy things like a good natural toothpaste. I haven't got into making my own toothpaste yet, but I will do. It's a bit messy. I think I tried it once with like charcoal powder and stuff. Yeah. It was just messy.
Yeah, I tried that too, and it's like it's messy in your sink, and yeah,
my
and in the morning you
toothbrush.
don't want to deal with mess. Like it also has to be
cleaned. Yeah. So you know, I buy a fluoride-free one. And that's probably and then I buy like a good nice organic skincare, like a balm, cleansing butter, and then a moisturizer.
Yeah, and there are really great brands out there now that are very conscious and have very, very simple ingredients. Like you look on the back and it's 1 or 2 or 3 things, like, so you know it's really good.
Yes, exactly.
What are some of the, like, when you started on this journey, I know you started younger as a child, but then there obviously, like you said, when you're in your 20s, you go through a phase of like, I don't know, we're not as health conscious maybe
just buy the cheapest product.
Right, it's just kind of a normal phase of life. Like when you kind of went back to it and started to really live this way, what are some of the benefits that you started to feel, and what are some of the benefits that even clients of yours maybe have felt in making these simple changes?
In terms related to the body care, or just generally within wellness?
I would say in terms of the body care and just using like less toxins in their like general routines.
Yeah, well, for me, I always, because one of my weakness when I was younger was my gut, and I had all the sort of sensitivities and allergies and asthma and stuff and chemical sensitivity. So I still, although you know my gut, those issues that I used to have, which were quite debilitating as a teenager, that's gone now. But I am like a bit like a chemical detector. That is still one of my sensitivities, the chemical sensitivity. So for example, when I walk through duty free, it's quite overwhelming because it's like, oh, you know, someone sprays like a perfume in your face,
and you can't avoid it because of the location. Like you have to go through it.
yeah. So sometimes I used to go to clients' houses, and some of their, if there was like some household product that had been used, or like a furniture polish, I'd feel like I'd get like a bit of a headache coming on. I'd start to feel sort of a bit brain foggy, or I'd start to feel wheezy. So I knew that there was some chemical that was in a product that was in the atmosphere, and it didn't feel good. So so from there I would really, look for alternative natural household products, eco-friendly household products. And then when I was doing the research for my book, and I find that I could, make some of the things, like I make my own multi-purpose spray. I use coconut oil as like a wood polish, or as a wax, or as like to loosen door frames, not loosen, but oil up door frames.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. See, I'm
Yeah.
from you.
So I was like, okay,
Okay.
this is more convenient. The multi-purpose spray lasts me like, again, probably a year, best part of a year, and I just top it up myself. And so then I don't have those symptoms now. Like, I want to feel comfortable in my home.
Right.
Like, I don't want to, if I do a bit of cleaning, and suddenly feel a bit woozy in my head, or start to feel wheezy. So for me, it was like quite a direct impact. And then with skin, I think, well, our skin is the largest organ in the body. So what we're putting into it, we're also absorb, or what we're putting on it, we're also absorbing part of that. And if most people's livers are already quite overwhelmed, because that's the organ of detoxification. So whatever the liver isn't breaking down and the colon is not breaking down, it's going to come out in the skin.
Right.
And so I think with other products that perhaps I used in my 20s, it would just feel, it was like either stripping my skin, or just didn't feel good. And then I had that fungal skin thing came back again on my arms, which is more stress induced at that time. I was just doing too much, like physically too much. And sometimes I think when you're in the world, and this is something I've seen very commonly in the world of personal training or fitness or of service, is we kind of think, well, in that time, 10-15 years ago, sort of I think at that time I related stress to be more like mental stress, emotional stress. I didn't think physical stress could, because I was fit and healthy, I didn't think physical stress, and then compact that with, mental and emotional stress, so that at points in my life would affect me. But the body always knows a score.
Yeah.
So when I had that fungal thing, I was like, okay, I need to slow down. I need to step back.
Interesting. I love our body is.
I was very conscious of what I was putting on my skin then. Yeah.
Right. Our body's always telling us what to do. And I think that's also a very female thing. We're like, oh, I'm not stressed, I'm okay. And then we're running around doing like a million things, and our body is telling us otherwise. But I think we've really been conditioned as well to think that we can do it all.
And distract ourselves.
Yeah, right. You say that it's like your sensitivity, but I can't help but think it's actually your superpower, because at the end of the day, everyone is being impacted by toxins. It's just some people listen to their bodies, have learned to listen to their bodies more. Or like you said, your body you might feel the symptoms differently, or think of the symptoms as different. Like I know for me personally, when I had the mold toxicity, it really affected my gut health. So I ended up with SIBO. And I remember for the first time in my life feeling depressed. And it was the knowing that our gut health and our microbiome actually impacts our brain health is what actually kind of kept me grounded. I remember thinking this too will pass once I correct my gut health and heal that I will feel good again in my brain health and in my emotions. And it was true, but sometimes like that knowledge is power. And so I hope that anyone listening to this, it's starting to kind of like click and turn on those light bulbs. What do you say to the person who is, and I get this attitude, I understand this attitude of there's just toxins everywhere, there's this, there's that, like there's no point, like just live your life, enjoy your life, like why, like it's just too overwhelming, so like why even try? Like what do you say to those people? Because it's true, we can't avoid toxins. And I have been, I guess, on that extreme side where when I was working on healing, where it almost became paralyzing, where I was like, I literally don't know what to eat. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, because I was just too like, oh my gosh, toxins are everywhere. I'm never gonna, like, I was there.
Yeah, we can become kind of toxic phobia.
Yeah, that's not good either.
Everything.
Right? That's not healthy either. So where's that balance? And what you say to people that are like, I don't even know, like,
that's a really good question. I think awareness is key, first of all. Awareness is empowerment. And that would already start to build a strong base. You can't eradicate everything, but really it always goes back to strengthening your internal state. So your internal state, that is your mind, body, spirit. So even your own energy, your own frequency, and your state. So because when you feel kind of low, or let's say when you feel low, that has an impact on your immune system, right? That opens your immune system. Stress, fear, all those kind of low energy emotions, fatigue, lethargy, apathy, depression, grief, that impacts your immune system anyway. So then that leaves you a bit more perhaps open and vulnerable to toxicity, which can then be a contributing factor to other health conditions. But however, if I raise my energy, my state, my vibration, my level of health and vitality by my thoughts, how I feel, finding joy, play, all of these things, I'm already strengthening my immune system massively. So then perhaps I don't have to be in this war or fight with toxins or toxicity. Do the best that you can with the tools that you have.
I love
and it can be a process over a few years. It doesn't have to be all overnight. What one thing out with the other.
I absolutely love that. And in it is that whole knowing our bodies are able to detoxify. We can handle toxins if we're doing all the things that we need to be healthy. Our bodies will naturally detox as long as we've got our detox pathways open. And like you said, even when you started speaking words like joy and it made me even feel calmer. Like when we're talking about the toxic world and this and that, like you can feel, just having that conversation, you feel the tension in your body and the anxiety, and we're professionals, like we know about this, but you feel that, right? As soon as you start to talk about joy and abundance and our thoughts, and you actually feel your body get calmer and stronger. And I think that's the thing, is trusting and knowing that when we nourish ourselves and our bodies, and we do the best we can, that our bodies are natural healers too. We can handle being out in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And humans are incredibly resilient and adaptable. But it is like, do the best that you can with the tools that you have, but work on the internals, work on the basic foundation principles, the 6 pillars, like the rest and getting good quality sleep, being in rhythm with your circadian rhythms, move every day. So all of these lifestyle principles, and eating food that is like natural whole food, not processed or in a packet, or has like 10-15 chemicals in the ingredients. And then what are the other ones? Breathing, take time to just open the diaphragm and slow the breathing. That has huge impacts on brain and gut connection, the vagus nerve, how we feel, our state, hydration, quality water. I would say that's a something to definitely invest in a good high quality filter. Get those in order first. Get those in order first.
And water filter was the one thing that made the biggest difference in my health when I was suffering from the mold. And when my aunt when we were in Mexico, the doctor that she was working with, that was the first thing, was finding a source of clean water. It was huge. And so in my own mold journey, I don't know why I didn't think of it within the first year. I think, to give myself credit, you're dealing with the brain fog and all the symptoms. You're not actually thinking clearly when you're in the thick of it. But a good friend of mine introduced me to the Berkey water filter.
Yes, that's what I've got.
I love it. And then when I went to the water store, the woman explained to me how just looking at chlorine, like that's one thing, right? There's many, but the chlorine, how it impacts your lungs. And then if you're already compromised, and that was the thing, within a few weeks of drinking that clean water, my breathing improved, and it had been so terrible for over a year. So I'm glad you touched on that, just so that we could mention that. I love you talking about the 6 pillars, because it's all things that we can do. And it's very, like, we have so many tools. We're going back to the products. You said it doesn't have to be something that you do. And I think that's great advice. You don't have to do everything today. Start off slowly, like give yourself the time to adapt to this new way. What is 1 or 2 things that you would suggest in terms of products that someone just give a go, because it's easy to do, that they can create themselves, that will actually make an impact, because it's something maybe that they're using every single day? And I think that those are the easiest things, is look at what you do every single day and start there.
Oh,
like if I took one away from you, which one would you not want me to take away?
For me, it'd probably be my body moisturizer, which I just use. I don't make that, but I buy like raw shea butter. So as I was saying, so just get like, because it's my whole body. So what am I using in my whole body? So get bang for buck. So I'd probably say start with your body wash and what you're then moisturizing, because that's going to be absorbed into your skin and sometimes into your bloodstream. So get like a good body moisturizer. And what I love now, I think there's so much more available. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but like 10 years ago, you might have to have gone to like a specific store. Like we had the organic pharmacy, was one of the first sort of organic skincare, body care places and products. So I used to order online from them. But now there's so many beautiful small business artisan businesses. And because like I sometimes used to go to these local sort of what do they call them? Artisan markets near me. There was always someone there who make their own eco-sustainable products. Amazing. Like beautiful skincare, hand care product, like skincare, body care products. And of course, when you look in the ingredients, it's just like, simple, basic ingredients. Sometimes it has a chemical name, because some of the like essential oils and some of those ingredients have like they do actually have like a kind of a biological name, which they have to list, but you can still connect it back to what it actually is. Right. And so, maybe if you connect with one of like a small business near you, or a small business online, even, that makes
Etsy opens up the world to us. If someone's Etsy, they don't have that.
Etsy's a really good. Do you have Etsy in Canada? Yeah, they're really good for like lots of kind of small business artisan sort of eco-sustainable organic products, and then you also know that you're supporting that small business, and that's something that's become really important to me, especially in the last few years. So that's what I would say. And then I would say your body wash. This is what I buy, right?
Oh gosh, I love it. This is I think what you showed. Amazing.
So this is organic Castile soap. Have you heard of Dr. Bronner's?
Yeah, we actually have it here in the grocery stores.
Yeah, so this is the same stuff. Okay. Right? Amazing. And then I just add my own essential oils, and I buy this in bulk. I used to buy the Dr. Bronner's, and I do love their Dr. Bronner's, but I mean it is quite expensive, like a bottle each time. This is like £25.
Amazing.
And it honestly lasts me a year. Like I top up my body wash the whole year. I top up all my the hand washes I just buy the glass bottle, a nice glass bottle, and then I add my own essential oils. So some really kind of good base essential oils are like
And the
lemongrass.
glass is important, right? Sorry to interrupt, but because you just mentioned it, but glass bottles are very important as well to.
Yeah, it's preferable. So I used, and I might put like lavender in, like maybe 10 drops of lavender or something, or lemongrass goes really well, and get a good quality essential oil, organic essential oil. Again, that should be quite easy to come across. So that'd be my two go-tos. That's like my body covered when I have a wash.
With the shea butter, because I don't know a lot about it, is it like coconut oil where you want to buy, like, what are you looking for? Organic? Is it, coconut oil, they always say buy unrefined and raw, and like what kind of things do we need to look for quality shea butter?
Yeah, well, I mean, shea butter's quite thick, it's quite dense. It's good for, it comes from Africa, so it's quite good for like black skins, and because absorb more of the moisture. We need to absorb more of the moisture.
It's so dry here, it's unbelievable.
Oh wow. And cacao butter, would you say cacao or cocoa butter might be an alternative. Well, it's not quite as thick, or like maybe a shea body butter where it's mixed with like they might mix it with coconut oil, so it's not quite as dense. But I would look up like raw shea butter.
Amazing.
Or unrefined shea butter.
Okay, those are the key words. Like, you start to know this language that you can then buy with confidence when you know these kind of like little things to look for.
Yeah, and there's not, if anything's added into it, it's just like natural stuff, like coconut oil or the essential oil or something, not like because you have like in one of the I don't know if do you have Boots in Canada? Boots in UK?
Yeah, here it's called Shoppers Drug Mart or London Drugs. That's the equivalent of
right. Yeah, because they always have those Palmer's cocoa butter and stuff, but that's like again, that's not the pure stuff.
That's right.
It's got lots of crap.
Yeah, the language is really key. You mentioned this stuff is in your book. Like, in your book, do you have recipes too, or is it you just talk about the process and the toxins?
What I have with the body care stuff, I've got basically a chart.
Ooh. And your book is called Self-Care for Life in the City. So we put the links to it and everything so people can get it.
Cool. Yes, please. So it's what I have, I've put really nicely simple glance to look at, like the chemical ingredient.
Yes.
A list of the common chemical ingredients over a couple of pages. And then you have what it would be found in.
Yes.
Then you have like the potential risks and effects. Wow. And then I give the natural alternative. So do I have, so I list something like things that you can use, or like natural toothpaste, for example. I haven't got the recipe for it. I think I might have for the deodorant. Oh yeah, I did put, make your own for the deodorant one. So aluminium is quite often found in deodorants, antiperspirants, and that's highly toxic to the brain. It's linked to breast cancer. So an alternative is you can make your own with baking soda, arrowroot powder, coconut oil, and essential oils. I haven't put the breakdown of the recipe, like how much of each, but
that's your part.
They are what's that? I can send it to you. Maybe maybe you can put it in the show notes. And that's what I do. I've made this. This is actually for my partner's mom. You haven't seen her. If you see, it smells really good as well. I put lemongrass. Oh no, I didn't. Lavender and patchouli. Because she saw my video and she was asking Warren about the deodorant. So I made her one. And so for deodorant, like baking soda or bicarbonate of soda, arrowroot powder, coconut oil mixed together, and then you put your own essential oils in. That's literally how I made this pot, and this will probably last best part of a year.
Amazing.
Because you don't need much.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times, like really good quality things, you just need a little bit, and it lasts you forever. Francesca, it's been like so enlightening. So I've learned so much. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really why I podcast is so that I can learn.
Yeah. Oh, such a pleasure. Such a pleasure.
Else. I know without a doubt that this episode is going to help someone in their journey to better health. So thank you so much. The last question is just, I will have it in the show notes, but maybe just let us know what's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm most active on Instagram under Mind Body Alchemist, and my website is www.mind-bodyalchemist.com. So the best ways to get in touch.
Fantastic. Oh, Francesca, thank you again so much for your time, for your knowledge. It was just so much fun, and I'm just so grateful for you. Thank you.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening in today. I know time is precious, and I'm grateful you shared yours with me. It would mean the world to me if you felt an impact, a moment of inspiration, or learned something new. If you would share it with those you care about and leave me a review on iTunes. I'd love to know what spoke to you or what you'd like to hear more of. Your sharing and leaving a review would help so much on this journey to making an impact on as many people as possible. It's worth it. I know from experience, there are moments when something we hear has the possibility of changing everything.